There are many different materials, tools, and techniques for making imagery in lithography. The beauty of the lithographic process lies in its ability to capture and retain a wide variety of marks, preserving the touch of the artist's hand in the final image. The most common traditional materials for creating an image in lithography include lithographic pencils, crayons, tablets, tusche, and rubbing crayon. These materials are generally made with a mixture of soap, grease, pigment, and wax in varying quantities. Depending on the quantities and ingredients used, the resulting drawing materials will have some important variations. Pencils, crayons, and tablets, and rubbing crayons come in varying degrees of hardness and greasiness to aid in drawing, similar to the range found in graphite pencils. Corns and Charbonnel crayons and pencils are also soluble in water, whereas Stone's crayons are not. Solubility in water may be important, such as when an artist wants to use crayons and then paint over water washes with them. Pencils are good for rendering and fine lines. Harder pencils and crayons will produce crisp lines and subtle tones. Softer crayons will produce rich, soft marks. By drawing with the pencil in different directions, strokes can be minimized and subtle tones built up, and dark passages as well filled in. Crayons can be used utilizing all of the available surfaces. Crayons can also be sharpened to create linear calligraphic marks. Dragging the crayon on its side will produce wide, varied marks. These can also be accomplished using a tablet. Rubbing crayon is traditionally used for soft, blended tones that best resemble smudged charcoal. To use, rubbing crayon is first applied to the palm of one's hand, and then a piece of silk or chamois is wrapped around the finger of the opposite hand. The finger is then rubbed into the palm and gently applied to the matrix. Varying the pressure, stroke, direction, and amount of crayon on the silk or chamois will help produce varied tones and gradations in the drawing. Because rubbing crayon is greasier than most other drawing materials, it may roll up darker than it is drawn if you're not careful with your etching. Lithographic tusche comes in stick, paste, and liquid form. The ingredients in tusche are similar to crayons, but each tusche has its own unique characteristics. Stick tusche, of the three, is the most flexible form of tusche because it can be used for both water and solvent washes without contamination. It's prepared for drying by first rubbing the stick onto a convex surface, such as a plate. Once a healthy amount of the material has been transferred to the plate, the wash is made by adding liquid, either water or solvent, to the tusche. Water washes will have more pronounced reticulation than solvent washes, but a solvent wash can be used over a gum stop-out where a water wash would dissolve the gum. In this case, I'm using water for my wash, and I'll add just enough water to loosen all of the tusche on the plate. After pouring this concentrated mixture into a better container, I can add more liquid, testing it on a sheet of printing paper as I do, to achieve the proper value for drawing. Paste tusche comes in a can, and separate cans for water washes and solvent washes are essential. They should never be mixed from the same can. To mix paste tusche, add a small amount of liquid to the can, and then using a stiff bristle brush, gently work over the entire surface of the paste tusche. The bristles of the brush will help the tusche to release into the liquid. Be careful not to scrub the tusche with the brush, or you may introduce air bubbles into the mixture. Once your liquid has thickened to the consistency of a heavy cream, pour it into a more suitable container for use. A wash can also be strained through a double layer of cheesecloth to ensure a more even particle size and smoother tonal shifts when you draw with it. More liquid can again be added to this concentrate to achieve the proper value for drawing. Liquid tusche, photographic ink, and zincographic ink are all essentially concentrated water-based tusche mixtures. They can be diluted with water to make washes, but are in general better suited to making flats or linear pen drawings when used as is, straight out of the bottle. Flats can also be painted in a positive manner using a material we call shot black. Shot black is a simple mixture of 1/3 Charbonnel Monte ink, or a similarly greasy roll-up ink, 1/3 liquid asphaltum, and 1/3 lithotine. The amount of lithotine that you add to the mixture can be reduced to make it a thicker mixture more suitable for dry marks and marks that hold their edge a little bit better, according to the needs of the artist. Shot black should be painted on thick for reliable results. Because shot black is solvent-based, it can also be painted over gum stop-outs if needed. Gum stop-outs are an integral part of the lithographic process. By painting gum on the matrix before drawing, we can mask out areas that we wish to remain white without having to simply avoid them while drawing. Gum stop-outs can be used in combination with any material that is not diluted with water. So dry drawing materials or solvent washes or shot black, for example. The gum should be painted on thin and even, and later in the process of the matrix, the excess drawing material that's on top of the gum will lift off, leaving the area under the gum perfectly clean and white on the paper. Gum stop-outs can be used to make flats by painting out the negative areas of the image. The areas stay white, and once the gum has dried, a printing base can simply be buffed in on top of it to create the image area and rolled up into ink. In lithography, the drawing process is a creative, dynamic part of making a lithograph. Each artist will need something different, may ask something new of the materials, or in order to accomplish their vision for the work, you'll have to adapt. We have talked about these materials in a very static way, but as a printer or artist, you should approach the use of these materials creatively. How can you adapt them to the needs of your artist or to the way that you draw? How can you change the way you use them according to the way that you like to think and work? By understanding the strengths and weaknesses of each material, it allows you to use them in new and creative ways to better match your needs as an artist or a printer.